G'day folks, Aussie Mark here with a fixed blade knife review, and today we're looking at the Ontario SP43. This is one of the Spec Plus Gen 2 line of knives put out by Ontario, and they're designed by a gentleman called Dan Maragni, probably pronounced that really badly. So yeah, very interesting knives, very good value knives. There's a whole range of them. Suggest you have a look at the Ontario website. They've got a very good website. Basically just go in there, go into their catalogue section, and you can look at them by product line. There's the rat knives, these knives, and a heap of others. So if you look in the Spec 2 section, you'll see there's a broad range of these knives. This is one of probably three knives that are closely related to each other. The first of them is an SP46. It's the smallest of the three. It's got a 5.57 inch blade. And the SP42, which has got a 7-inch blade, and of course this one is the SP43, and it features an 8-inch blade. One of the reasons I chose this, I wanted a bigger knife for survival bush purposes, but interesting enough, and I'll just roll the sheath into camera shot here, all of those knives I just mentioned come with this same sheath. What's interesting about that is that when the knife sits in the sheath, of course you've got a little bit of gap down the bottom, but if we had, for example, a 5.57 inch blade, we're carrying all this extra sheath around with no knife in it, and to me that seemed a little bit pointless. So I don't know why they went with that. Probably economies of production, I guess. You can just make all these sheaths the same, but hopefully they'll change that. I think that's actually not a really a particularly good idea. We'll talk about the sheath a little more later. As I say, my main use for this knife would be out in the bush. General sort of thing, everything from perhaps splitting wood, not that I do a lot of that, but it certainly could do that. General hacking your way through lantana, that type of thing. It actually works quite good as a small machete. I have used it in that purpose. It's very, very good in that purpose. We'll talk about the blade. The blade steel is a steel that I've had very little experience, in fact no experience other than this knife. It's a steel called 5160, and we'll just bring the knife up to camera and you'll be able to see on that side it says there 5160, and of course it's made in the United States. Just on the other side, just out of interest, is sticking it to the model number, Gen 2 SP43. Very nice blade finish incidentally. You can probably see it's quite a textured black finish, which of course you need on these carbon steels to protect them from rust. So it's a 4 flat grind blade, which means that the blade tapers evenly all the way down to the edge until you get your relief edge down there. Drop point shape, which I love, my favourite blade shape, and I think it's just a beautiful looking blade. Very symmetrical, almost looks like a leaf shaped blade, but I guess more correctly it is a drop point blade. The blade length, as I said earlier, is 8 inch, or in the metric system 203 millimeters. The thickness of the blade, and this is probably where some people, especially doing splitting, might find it a little bit limiting other than some other blades, it's 3/8 of an inch, or around 5 millimeters in the metric system, which is smaller in thickness than some people like the survival blades. I'm aware that the 1/4 inch is generally considered to be the thing to have if you're splitting logs and that type of thing. If you're not looking to do a lot of log splitting though, or you don't want to carry the weight, nothing wrong with this. The overall length for the knife, 13 inches. So that's handle to tip. What's that in metric, I hear you ask? Don't know. Yes I do. 330 millimeters. The handle itself is made of a material called Kraton. It's some kind of a rubberized plastic, I don't know. If you want to know more about Kraton, Google it. I haven't. You can. Interestingly enough, on this knife, the guard is also made of the same material. It's all moulded in one thing, so there's no metal guard as such. Again, being as this is an outdoor survival knife, I don't see that as an issue. If you were looking at some sort of a military combat application, it could be a problem, but I don't see it as one. The handle's very comfortable, very nice to use, and whilst it's firm, it does have just a slight little bit of give and grippiness, which is very good. As you can see, I've put a lanyard on my particular one. It's got a little toggle on it, which in fact came with the leg strap on the sheath. I'm not a leg strap kind of guy, so I took that off and thought I'd reuse it here as an experiment. And the idea of this is, if I'm using my lanyard, for example, I'm slashing through macheting my way through some lantana, I can pull that toggle up a little bit tight like that, and that way the knife really can't go anywhere. So far that's actually worked out quite well as an experiment. It's the only one I've got set up that way. I don't mind it. It's not essential. Normal lanyard would be quite fine also. As I say, it came with the sheath with a leg strap. I don't use leg straps. Not a fan of leg straps. Don't know why, just don't like them. The weight of the knife is 10.9 ounces as it sits there now. In the metric system, of course, 309 grams. in the sheath, the knife and sheath together, brings it up to 15.4 ounces or 436 grams. It's always amazing how much weight those sheaths actually add. Quite surprising. So I'll bring the sheath in for a look. Now I sort of take the view, particularly with fixed blade knives and that sort of thing, the sheath is an integral part of the knife as a system. It's disappointing, I guess, that many manufacturers skimp on the sheath, but it's a fact of life. This is not one of life's greatest sheaths, I suppose. However, having said that, it's not too bad. The sheath's made of nylon. It's not Cordura, it may look it, but it's not. It's nylon, and it has a plastic insert for the knife there. The plastic insert didn't retain the knife particularly well, still doesn't for that matter. We'll just slide it in there and I'll show you. The knife will in fact drop out. Whilst this sheath has got on the back here molly system, so you could in theory carry this upside down, realistically you wouldn't do it. There is a mod out there which I did do a little bit on this one. Nuttin Fancy talked about it on his review. I think it was of the SP43, the smaller of the knives. And when you initially get this, the only thing that actually holds that insert in is in fact this bit of cord down here, which is a leg strap, or at least it was. Mine now, I've just put it in to retain, put a little knot there, cut it off, fills that up. But that's basically all that retains the insert. You take that out and the insert comes straight out for a pair of long nose pliers or something. You can then heat it up using a heat gun type of thing you might use to remove paint. Don't borrow your wife or girlfriend's hairdryer. Insufficient heat won't work and they'll get cranky at you. And then basically what you do is you press down on that insert and you can firm it up so it'll grip that knife edge. For my purposes, I did that slightly purely to reduce any chance of it rattling. Not that I'm trying to be Captain Stealth out there, but it just annoys me having things rattling around either in the pack or indeed if it's on my belt. I carry this, when I do have it on my belt, just through that loop up the top there, and basically the knife just sits in, so it's not going to fall out. I will always retain it with the strap when I've got it in, and if we put that in there you should see that it basically doesn't rattle or make too much racket, which is good. The sheath retain system is actually, oddly enough, very good. Particularly good is because, I've mentioned this before, and I am a lefty, a left-hander. So one of the things that I look for in my knives, and in fixed blades I look for it in the sheath for the knife, is that it's ambidextrous. In other words, I can put the knife in either way, and of course I put it in that way so that when I wear it on the left side, I have the cutting edge facing away or to my rear, so I can pull the knife out and use it naturally. Sadly, many knives come with sheaths that are really suitable only for right-handers, which is disappointing and annoying because if you Google, I think around 10% of the world's population are left-handers. So it's nice to see that this sheath, despite it's got a few shortcomings, it does cater for left-handers. And in fact, in one way it caters for us slightly better. If you have the knife in for right-hander, there is a potential when you unclip the strap that the cutting edge will in fact, if we look here, it comes quite close and may, over time, cut through that nylon strap. Whereas on this other side, we've got this little plastic buckle here, so this part falls away quite neatly. And interestingly enough for us left-handers, the blade clears that very, very comfortably. So thank you, Ontario. I don't know if you meant to do that for us left-handers, but thank you anyway. Nice touch. So the sheath, yeah, it's good enough. Basically, when I take my fixed blades out with me, they normally ride in my pack. I've got a folding knife that just rides in my pocket. If I do get to a stage where I need to use this for, as I say, hacking my way through a bit of undergrowth, lantana, whatever, I'll just attach that to my belt at the time. The one hit I would give this thing that I would love to see would be a quick release system here on the belt so that I wouldn't have to unloop my belt to actually put the knife on. It's only a small thing, but it'd be nice. I'm not sure that there's any way I can mod that. Probably not. But who knows, down the track I might have a go at something, maybe some press studs, a bit of Velcro, maybe both. Could be an interesting little thing to try out. The quality of the knife itself, I think it's very good. As I say, the finish on the knife, I'll try and get a close-up of that for you. It's quite a textured, very, very nice finish. The shape of the blade, as I say, I really like. I can't fault the knife as far as fit and finish goes. Very, very good. As you see up in the handle here, you do of course have a lanyard hole, and that's got a rivet through it, which I'm assuming runs through the tang of the knife, so it's probably also a retention system for the handle as well, I would imagine. What else about it can I say? The value. Like most Ontario knives, and it's one reason I'm becoming a real fan of Ontario, the value is excellent. These knives, depends what you can get them for in your part of the world, or your real thing, but I actually found for an 8-inch knife, very, very good value indeed. I don't think there's too many other companies can really compete with this. Perhaps K-Bar, another company I'm quite fond of, they are in the same arena, and they can probably compete, but you can't really go too far wrong. Interestingly enough, one of the things I like about this knife is the fact that it is quite light. Now, as I say, that's probably down to the fact that the blade is quite thin comparatively speaking to a lot of the larger survival knives that are out there on the market. The advantage of that is it's lighter to carry. As we said there before, the knife itself is 10.9 ounces. By comparison, just to show off another blade, because let's face it, we like blades, this is a K-Bar Becca BK2 companion knife. Review to come. Had a little bit of more experience. This knife I've had a bit longer. It is a 5-inch knife, sabre ground, a little bit of oil on it there. I'll just grab my rag and wipe that off just to neaten it up a bit. That actually is probably a good thing to mention. You should put some oil on these knives when you're storing them. Quite useful. As you can see, we'll put them there side by side. Much smaller blade. Yet, this one is quite a bit heavier. The reason for that is it's a real slab of steel. We'll get that up there, you can see the difference. The Becca is a full 1/4 inch. Very weighty knife. Lovely knife though. It weighs in, this particular Becca, at 16 ounces for the knife alone. So that's just over 5 ounces more than this one, and you're getting 3-inch or less blade. So in a lot of ways I'm not carrying this one as much now, because I can carry this one, which is a larger blade, fits in my pack, and it's less weight, and it gives me much better ability when it comes to, say, hacking my way through that undergrowth. As I say, that length, that swing is very useful. This knife is not as good in that purpose. Having said that, this is still a good thing. One of the great things about this knife, and I won't do a review on it now, we're supposed to be doing everyone, is the sheath. Ambidextrous, of course. If it wasn't, I probably wouldn't own it. Plastic or Kraton, can't remember what that is. Let's say it's plastic. Great retention, but we won't do that review now. One day we will. So, overall view on this knife. Great buy. I think I paid just under $140 Australian. Yeah, we do pay more in Australia for our knives. I probably could have and should have brought it in from the States. In fact, I'm looking at a site in the state now to buy another Ontario, and they're much cheaper to bring in that way. I can probably get 2 for the money I paid here. But that's okay. I got it quick. My view of the knife is, if you're looking for a larger, yet lightweight, easy to carry survival knife, this is a good purchase for you. 8-inch blade, full fat ground, good steel, high carbon, comfortable handle, easy to carry, sheath's adequate, very capable knife, and the value, you really just cannot go wrong for the price. You're looking at some of the high-end survival knives that I see on websites now out of the States. You can double, perhaps even triple the sort of money you'd spend on this Ontario, and I'm not sure that for most people you'd get the benefit as far as the use goes commensurate with that price. So certainly one to look at. If 8 inches is a little bit big, of course, there's the models we talked about earlier. The SP43 is a 7-inch, and the 46 is smaller again. But as I say, be aware that you will be getting a sheath with basically a great void down the end, and that's, to me, that's just annoying. I couldn't live with that. So that's the knife in a nutshell. Is it good? Yes. Should you have one? Probably. If you're going out doing a bit of bush and you just want a fixed blade to maybe back up your folder, if you're going out overnight, maybe just in case, could be an emergency, you might need a bigger knife. Throw it in your pack. It's not a lot of weight to carry, and you get an awful lot of capability for that. So yeah, basically that's my review of that knife. I like it. I haven't pushed it hard yet, but when the time comes I will. I'll hopefully film that, and we'll maybe do an outdoor look at how it travels. Thanks for watching. All the best. Take care. Bye bye.